Good evening, everybody. I'm back. I am your host, Jack Remington of the Jack Remington NFL channel. Last week we had a great start. 4 wins, no losses, and 1 push. And that 1 push, they missed a 2-point conversion that would have got us to win. So we're happy with that, and we're going to go over week 1 with the results. We'll show you the screenshot for the Hilton contest that has been finalized since Wednesday this week. The line is set, like I said, in week 1. We did lose on our 2-team teaser. We won both our survivor pool picks. I forgot to put on the video, and I forgot to get the screenshot that shows me that I sent to the guy the picks for the survivor pool, but it doesn't matter. We got the week 2 survivor picks up here, and we're going to bounce back with a different type of teaser. We're going to wait and see how we do here, and I'm really excited with this great start, so I don't want it to go to waste. Here's the screenshot for week 1, and the line was set, and we had taken the 5 teams where we had the Jets +5 at the Carolina Panthers. We took the Chargers +1. They were at the Washington football team. We took the Browns +6. They were at Kansas City Chiefs. We took the only favorite we had, the Denver Broncos, on the road, -3 at the New York Giants. And the last game we picked was a home underdog, the Las Vegas, I keep saying Los Angeles, or Oakland Raiders, but it's the Las Vegas Raiders. They were a home underdog, +4.5 points, hosting the Baltimore Ravens. Ironically, that line got up to 6 at game time. People were still betting the Ravens, but I felt pretty good about that bet. Even when it got to the overtime, the worst you could get is a push if the Ravens scored a touchdown. So we felt really good about that. So now here's a screenshot of the video, and it shows what we picked. The 5 games that we chose. In the case of home team in caps, we had the Jets, the Chargers, the Browns, the Broncos, Las Vegas Raiders. And the home teams were always in caps. Our 2-team teaser, we had a 7-point -30 juice. So we had to spend 130 to get 100, but we lost that. We had the Rams, got it teased down to half a point. They won the game handily with Matthew Stafford as quarterback. But we lost to Pittsburgh at Buffalo, and Pittsburgh won the game outright. They blocked a punt in the 4th quarter. And people keep saying, yeah, Buffalo should have won. Well, you know what? The best team always wins. And that day, Pittsburgh was a better team. They won. You got to give it to them. So we lost on the teaser. And the push we had was the Jets, but they lost by exactly 5 points. We're happy about that. We had the Jets 14, Carolina 19. We got our 5. We got a push. Game 2, the Chargers +1, so it was Chargers 20 at Washington 16. We won that one. I don't exactly remember the Browns score, but it was like 33-29, a 4-point score. Cleveland had the game won at halftime and let it slip away like they did in the playoffs last year. But with our 6 points, we covered it. And if it wasn't 6 points, I wouldn't have taken the game. The Broncos -3, they were never in doubt. They beat the Giants 27-13. And that overtime game, the Raiders, they just stuck at the Baltimore Ravens. And I think the final, they got a touchdown at the end there. And it was 33-20. No, it was 35-29, something like that. But they don't kick the extra point in overtime, so we were happy with that. So now we're going to take a look at the week 2 lines. And the home teams were in caps. And the line is set, like I said. So the 5 games that we're taking, and just follow along from the left column there. The 5 games that we're taking the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to ride them 2 weeks in a row. They're getting 5.5 points. They're at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll give you what I'm taking, and I'll make one quick quip about with the games. And then, game two, we're taking the home underdog, Miami Dolphins, +3.5, and they're hosting Buffalo Bills. I mean, Bills really need this win bad. I mean, it'll be panic time if they lose here, but it's a division rivalry, and I'll get to that later. Our third selection, we're going to ride the Broncos. Broncos -6. They're at the Jacksonville Jaguars, possibly the worst team in football. The 4th game we're taking, this is the one that got the dirty looks in the house. So they think you got a loser. We're taking the Tennessee Titans +5.5. They're at the Seattle Seahawks. And the last game, we're going to reverse our gears with a certain team. We're going to take the Ravens. They're the home underdog to the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're getting 3.5 points. Now, they're a proofreader from the Las Vegas Hilton. I'm going to have to call them and tell them I'll do it for next to nothing, but they got to pay me something. In week 1, they had the Packets, 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 and now here in week 2, they got the Chiefs versus the Raiders. It's the Chiefs versus the Ravens. So they got the Raiders on here twice. So because I know football, I know that it's Baltimore Ravens. Anyway, I gave you my 5 selections, and then let me just go really quick why I like what I like. Number 1, the Las Vegas Raiders plus 5.5 at Pittsburgh. I'm looking for a close game. I'm looking for Carr, the quarterback of, Derek Carr, the quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm having a hard time saying Las Vegas Raiders. I'm looking for him to have a good, outstanding showing because Buffalo did move the ball pretty good on Pittsburgh's defense. I just think John Gruden, the Chucky Gruden, I think he's going to come up with a good game plan, and I think Tomlin is a stale coach. I mean, if he was on any other team, he would have been dead to walk, and he would have been fired years ago when he went to kick that Raven guy going into the sideline on that punt return. I mean, he got a fine and a 1-game caution, or he didn't even get suspended for a game. I just think that Tomlin is stale, but he's the one team in the NFL that loves continuity and don't like to make changes, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers from the old man Rooney, Art Rooney's days. The Suns are not what the old man was. I'll leave it at that. But I like the Raiders' offense. Often they can move the ball, and in today's NFL, offense speaks volumes. I know that the old thing about, offense sells tickets and defense wins the games, but that is slowly changing. Offenses are going to sell tickets and win the game. So I'm going to take a chance on a close shootout, and I'm going to take a chance on the Raiders keeping it close with a possible outright upset. The second game, Buffalo at Miami. This got a couple questions marks too. People keep saying, well, Buffalo's got to win, and they're a playoff team, and they did this, they did that, and they almost beat this one. They almost beat the Chiefs. Yeah, they're a good team, and they're up on the upswing, but so is Miami. People keep saying, well, Miami should have lost to New England. Yes, they should have, but the best team always wins. Miami did just enough to win that game. And it's a division rival. I didn't even look what they played. I should have went on this NFL reference site and see what they did last year. I couldn't begin to tell you. But I have enough confidence in my past experience tells me this division rivalry. I mean, if Miami can just keep it close and even lose by a field goal, we got a winner. I think Miami is going to win the game outright. I think Miami is a team on the upswing. And I think Buffalo's going to wake up and going to be 0-2. Then it's panic time, and then we'll see what we do. The Broncos -6. I'm going to ride that team. They got the Teddy Bridgewater as a quarterback. I mean, I've always been a fan of Teddy Bridgewater. He's a competent quarterback. I can't believe the Vikings got rid of him. But that's okay. That's neither here nor there. He's on this other team. The Broncos got a decent defensive core, and I think just Jacksonville. I mean, the only danger in this game here is if Denver just throws the helmets on the field. We're going to do just enough to win. That's the only danger, and Jacksonville gets a backdoor cover. But I'm going to take that chance. I'm going to ride the Broncos and a possible blowout. Denver is going to win the game. I mean, and I put them on my survivor pool, but we'll talk about survivor pool in a minute. Tennessee plus 5.5 at Seattle. I was surprised that Tennessee got slonkered by the Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals. I mean, I'd circle them to in my own little free thing here at the house. I picked them to cover, but I knew not to put them on the pool. But that's Mike Vrabel. He's the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. He's a Bill Belichick disciple. He knows how Bill Belichick did with the team after a loss. Any loss, home or on the road, doesn't matter. After a loss, Belichick, he's not in a good mood. So Vrabel's going to use his experience. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that Tennessee never lost 2 games in a row last year either, but I'll look that up to make sure I'm right. I don't want to be giving you false information or something I should be checking on before you say it. So for that, I apologize. But I think Tennessee, they couldn't get Derrick Henry in the running game going because then they got really behind. The game plan got thrown out the window. The wheels fell off in the first half, or particularly the second quarter. Arizona's got some team speed. I'm going to rethink my position about the Arizona Cardinals. I think the NFC West might be the division of all time. I mean, you got 4 tough outs now in that NFC West. I'll mention really quickly. You got the Cardinals. They got probably the best team speed in the NFL. Team speed's going to get you 10 wins. Easy. And you got the Rams. I mean, with Matthew Stafford, might be the Super Bowl winner this year. I know it's only week 2, but you know what? I mean, the Rams are that impressive. And the Bears aren't as bad as people say they are. They're okay. But Matthew Stafford, he brings a new dimension to that team, I'm telling you. Watch out for the Rams. You got Seattle. And Russell Wilson. What else can I say? They're studs too. And Pete Carroll's a pretty good coach in his own right. They're always a contender. He gets them in the playoffs every year. This could be Russell Wilson's last hurrah. San Francisco 49ers. Was it 41-17 at the halftime or something like that? It was 41-10 at one point. They let the Detroit get back in the game. Yeah, they're young and they have a habit of relaxing a little bit, throwing things on the field, throwing the helmets on the field. They're young, they're rich young men. I mean, yeah, okay. We're all guilty of that, whether we want to admit it or not. But like I'm saying, the NFC West is a stacked division. But this week, Mike Vrabel, the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, he's going to get that Derrick Henry running. And if Seattle has a weakness on defense, it's their run defense. And if Derrick Henry can get a couple, get 100 yards, get 120 yards, I look for him for outright upset. I mean, I think Tennessee can get back in this thing, and they got a complete team. I think a lot of Tennessee, and if Vrabel can pull the rabbits out of his hat like he saw his boss do for 15 years with New England Patriots, for as a linebacker and then as a coach. Vrabel was a linebacker for New England Patriots under Bill Belichick, and then he played for him and then coached with them. I look for outright upset. And the last game, I know this one. My wife, all my relatives, we all love Patrick Mahomes, and yeah, they should have lost to the Browns, but you can't. That should have, would have, could have. Yeah, big deal. But the Kansas City came back, and it doesn't matter if Cleveland let them win or not. Kansas City had to make the plays to get the points. Kansas City deserves a win. The best team always wins. But the Ravens, despite losing 3 starters, 2 of them were running backs. Their third running back is banged up. They lost 2 more starters somewhere. So yeah, the Ravens are right now, they're leading in the NFL with starter injuries, and things are not looking so well. Patrick Mahomes is 3-0. He's 3 wins and no losses against the counterpart, Lamar Jackson. And I think Lamar Jackson's tired of hearing that. I mean, he got pretty snappy and short at that press conference. And I saw something I like. I saw something that I look for as a handicapper. He is determined to break that 0-3 streak. I mean, he's got a little bit of pride. And I want to see that in a football player. I mean, he is a spectacular football player, and he's had a couple bad snake bites in the playoffs. They ran into the Tennessee Titans a couple years ago, and last year ran into the Buffalo Bills. 2 tight, close games, and they just couldn't close the games out. The other year, they were 14-2. They had the best record. They were the top seed in the NFL from start to finish until the end of the regular season and the playoffs. So they got beat by the Titans. Then the Titans got to go to play Kansas City, and they took a 10-0 lead on Kansas City. Gave them a scare. I'm telling you, this Ravens team, and Harbaugh's an excellent coach. He's cool, calm, collected. He never loses his cool. He never loses his temper. Unlike his brother, used to be for the 49ers. I'm telling you, watch the Ravens. Are going to bounce. They're at home. They can't fall to 0-2. And while I'm thinking about it, I know week 1's a tough week to handicap. Okay, but it's the second hardest week in the NFL to handicap. The hardest week to handicap in the NFL is not the first week, not the second week. It is the third week. Week 3 is the hardest week in the NFL to handicap, followed by week 1, and then followed by week 17, the teams that don't need the wins or whatever. But week 3 is the hardest week to handicap, and I'll do that more service next week. Okay, so we talked about the selections. We're taking the Las Vegas Raiders, the Miami Dolphins, Denver -6, Tennessee +5.5, and the Ravens home dog +3.5. So we got 2 home dogs this week. And so remember, last week I took 4 underdogs and 1 favorite, and the favorite covered. And this week, same thing. I got 4 underdogs and 1 favorite. The same favorite as last week. I got the Broncos. I'm going to ride the Broncos till I get beat. So let's talk about survivor pool. I took the Cleveland Browns. They should handily beat the Houston Texans. But you know what? I was wondering about it's a lot of points, 12.5 points. But survivor pool, you just pick the winner. I'm going to ride with the Browns, and I'm going to ride with the Denver Broncos. Last week, I took the Rams and the 49ers. So 2 easy wins, no problem. But this week, I'm gonna ride with the Cleveland Browns. I have two entries. And Cleveland Browns are the first entry, and the Denver Broncos are the second entry. And then once you use a team, you can't use them anymore. But I can mix and match until I use them both on both pools. So now we're going to do our teaser. Okay, we lost with the teaser last week. We had stupid Buffalo, and they lost the game outright. But we had the Rams. We got them down to a half a point, wherever it was, on a 7-point teaser. But still, when you lose one, you lose the entire thing. So now we're down to an imaginary $130 for the year. I spent $130 to get $100. But this week, I'm taking a 7.5 point teaser at a minus $1.35 juice. So I'm spending $135 to get $100 back. And the 2 teams we're taking the Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Bucks, and we're taking the Detroit Lions at the Green Bay Packers. Okay, they're both division rivals, but with the 7.5 points, I'm getting the Atlanta Falcons +20, and I'm getting the Detroit Lions +18.5. I'm just looking for a cover. I'm not looking for a win. But I will not be surprised if the Falcons didn't upset the Tampa Bay Bucks. There was one a couple years ago. The Falcons were 1-8 or 1-9, and they were 16.5 point underdogs on the road at the New Orleans Saints. Saints needed the win. They were 8-8 8-2, whatever, or 9-1, and they slonkered them. I think it was what 12-6 or something, nothing but field goal. I mean, they beat the snot out of this. I mean, shocked the world. The Falcons, any given Sunday, I would not be surprised if the Falcons had the upset on this. So I'm going to take the 20 points, and I'm going to just roll the dice with that. This kind of teaser where you're taking two big dogs like that, you're point grubbing. That's the old Vegas term that I learned from years from the Vegas guys. And another guy used to always say, these are gifts from heaven. Take them every time the NFL gives them to you, or the sports book gives them to you. And that's what the sports books is doing. I mean, they're generating action. They're generating handle tickets with these teasers and other exotic bets, and they're really bad bets. Okay, they're nothing like the one straight bet. And that's what the first part of the video is for the 5 picks. And if you stick with the 5 picks, you'll and you have any kind of winning season, you'll eke out a small win in the NFL every year. And again, if you look at my ticket, you look at my card, I spread out my risk. This time is an exception. I got the Denver Broncos twice. I got the Broncos for one of my 5 picks, Denver -6, and I also got them on survivor pool. Okay, so I'm breaking my own rule, but this is going to sound harsh and sound terrible or egotistical or wrong, but do as I say, not as I do. I don't recommend that to the casual bettor out there that's just trying to learn how to handicap football. I'm going to do it this one time, but most weeks I will not do that. But there is a place in the world for to do as I say, not as I do, and this is the place for that. So, having said that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Good luck with your picks. Take care. And I'm really excited about this. I mean, I went undefeated in week 1. I got a push, and the push should have been a win, but that's okay. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for subscribing and sticking with me. Got to keep your bankroll separate. You can't be paying your rent, your car insurance, your food money, girlfriend's money, your wife's money. And I've always been really good about this through all the years. You can talk to my family members. If you can be a day late or 2 paying something, but you make sure you pay all your bills. You make sure you have a bankroll. When I had a bankroll, I was unstoppable. Okay, but when I started, it'll be okay. I'll put this in the bank and I'll buy this stock, or I'll pay off my wife's car, pay off my truck, and I had no bankroll. I was doing all the seat in my pants, started losing. And you don't play the same when you got that cash money and you leave your credit cards home. Leave your credit cards home like I did, and you'll be okay. But enough of that. I want to thank you for your time. Take care. It's always a great day to be an American. Thank you.